Plain Janes are still winning, man. Don't let the internet fool you. Don't let the attention that some of these women out here getting, and no disrespect to no group of women, but I'm just keeping it real. There's some women out here who got all of the likes, attention. They got all the guys lusting after them, and they miserable. But it looked like from the outside that they just doing it big and da-da-da-da, and the Plain Janes is getting looked over. Man, sis, if you're a woman that, society ain't just gawking at you everywhere that you go, or you ain't got 500,000 followers and showing your breast and your butt and all that kind of stuff, so you ain't got a ton of attention just flooding you all the time and stuff like that, and because of it, you feel like, man, maybe I'm doing something wrong because I'm also not getting the results that I want. I'm here to tell you, don't change. Plain Janes are still winning. If y'all only knew what some of these girls are going through that's done all of this stuff, and I'm all for it. Look, if you love yourself, and in the form of loving yourself, you want to make adjustments to your body or whatever, or you want to do it big with your makeup and your hair, I'm not telling you to do nothing different than what you authentically want to do. I'm saying there's a group of women out here who got other people fooled because they've basically created a version of themselves that has the shock value that social media and the world and society gawks over. That they're infatuated. They built themselves to be infatuated with. And from the outside looking in, it looks like these women are getting the gifts. These women are getting the guys. These women are getting opportunities. These women are getting attention. Meanwhile, for a Plain Jane, you can get discouraged looking at that and saying, dang, I played it right. I did what I was supposed to do. I held it down. I didn't make all of these enhancements that I don't really want in my body. I've chosen to love myself and work on myself authentically. But what I'm getting is still not what I deserve. That's what I got from a woman recently. And I'm like, man, sis, like, the way that she's, at least what she's giving me, I'm like, sis, you are a whole trophy out here. You're a whole trophy out here. You're not a consolation prize. You're not fool's gold. You're the real thing. You're really a gold medal out here, but you're looking at people who are fool's gold. You're looking at the Cuban zirconias, looking at everybody buying them. The whole time you a diamond, and your price is so high, there's only a certain type of customer that can afford you anyway. Plain Janes, listen to me. Do not change who you are. No, you don't get the credit that you deserve. I absolutely agree with that. But do not change who you are. It's kind of like the saying when they say, oh, nice guys finish last. And I always say, no. First off, a lot of nice guys ain't really nice. They're pompous, they're pretentious, they're entitled. They're only being nice because they feel like that entitles them to a certain level of acceptance or reception from a woman. Genuinely nice guys don't finish last unless they're in the wrong race. Genuinely nice guys don't finish last unless they're in the wrong race. And the same thing goes for Plain Janes. Because everybody you lose ain't a loss. Oh, I tried so hard in this relationship, or I go out and guys don't approach me as much. Everything that you lose, everything that's not coming your way is not a loss to you. A lot of the attention that you don't get comes with trauma that you don't want. A lot of the gawking and lust and money just thrown at you and trips to Dubai that you don't get comes with indignation that you probably wouldn't even be able to look at yourself the same in the mirror. I just want to keep it real with you. Let me put this matter of fact. Because some of y'all have been with guys and you suffered that loss, you gave your best self, and it can feel like, man, I should have been like one of these girls out here that don't care about these dudes. They just get the money or, just whatever and going about my business because me being a Plain Jane hurt. No. The same thing I said about nice guys applies to you as a quote unquote Plain Jane. You only lost because you was in the wrong sport. You was with a man that didn't deserve you. That's a whole different conversation. And by the way, let me just break down what a Plain Jane is because I want to make sure I dispel this myth that it's, a woman that just walks around in a muumuu every day, everywhere that she go, and she's just lowly and hangs her head and don't take care of herself. No, you can be stylish. You can be sexy. You can be all of that and still be a quote unquote Plain Jane. When I'm saying Plain Jane, I'm basically saying the woman that does not appeal to the shock value or the lustful eye or the infatuation of most people. That's not what she don't curate that version of herself. It's say, how can I get the absolute most attention? How can I present the absolute most instant gratification? So those of you who are truly working on your education, truly working on your health, truly working on your peace, truly working on your authentic self, and that's where your energy goes. And therefore, you don't have so much priority on just getting 1 million followers to say you got 1 million followers, or having 30 different friends to say you got different friends, or loading up guys in your phone that, you know, aren't even serious contenders for husband material just to say you get dudes. That's not you. That's not you. That's what I mean by quote unquote plain Jane. Yeah, you're going to have less traffic, you know, than the next woman, but the clearance rack at the store get the most traffic out of everything, right? You go to the premium section, you go to the designer section, whatever it is, you go to that section, it's not going to be that many people over there sifting through that. Does that mean that it's worse off? Does it mean that the clearance rack is winning? No. It means the amount of people who can afford the highest quality is always going to be fewer in number. So those of y'all who say, no, I focus on me, I focus on family, I'm focused on being better, I'm focused on that. And some days it do translate to you looking less than Vogue magazine ready. Some days you got to make sure your hair is just put together some kind of way that don't look tacky, but you know, under a hat or whatever. And you ain't got time to style it for an hour because you live in real life. You showing up for people in your life. You're taking care of your bills. So you don't have to depend on the man too. Those of y'all in that category, and therefore you feel looked over, I want to encourage you, because what you're being looked over by is exactly who you want to be looked over by. Who you're being looked over by is exactly who you wish had looked over you before they came and wasted your time. I'm keeping it real with you. Y'all, some stuff I ain't going to say because I don't want the video to get deleted, but I was watching the video of a young lady. And I've had conversations with some, but it was interesting the depth in which this particular young lady was given the game. She was one of the girlies that ended up in Dubai, and the guys just fly her out to Dubai and all of this lavish living. Y'all, the stuff that girl had to put herself through in order to get that. And I want to paint the picture because, again, it can really fool you if you're a plain Jane in a world that seems to cater to all of the women who are just walking around perfect 10 all day. Their contours perfect every day. Their angle, every angle they take a picture from is just right. You know, the body is always in shape. You know what I'm saying? And they just get all of this spoiling and this, that, and the other. Y'all, don't be fooled. I'm not saying everybody that has a nice life is just really lying. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's so much more than what meets the eye and what you're looking out here. And that's really playing on you, because that comparison, as if you're missing out, is really what's got you discouraged. As if you're not getting the attention that you deserve, when really you're more likely to get the respect that you deserve than even those women. You're more likely to get the respect that you deserve, because who they're going to fill their calendar up with, again, has the wandering eye. You don't appeal to the wandering eye. You appeal to the pure heart. If you're a plain Jane, you're not going to catch every dude that's out here trying to get everybody and you know, so lit and so whatever. And maybe they got $100 million, but he's bankrupt in his soul. You're not going to always get those. Your phone, it's honestly, your phone ain't going to be ringing off the hook. Your phone, you're not going to have 20 missed texts every time you wake up and from different guys. It's this, that, and guess what? You didn't build yourself up for validation from just any and every man. You were designed for investment from one man that God has for you. And let me put a little bit more context, because I am a public figure. I've had contact with a lot of women. I mean, those that had 10 million followers on social media, those that have been in every magazine, everywhere. I know what I'm talking about when I say this. A lot of times you only see those highlights that those women will post and show, because the same way they felt pressure to even show you that and to put themselves what they get put through in order to show that, the same way they got pressure not to show you the other side of it. Not to show you whenever they're saying to that man that's doing all of these things, hey, do you want to be in a relationship? And he's like, nope. You know your place. I would never be in a relationship with you. They don't show that. They don't show those texts. They don't record those conversations. When that woman says, hey, you know, we've been rocking for a while. I know you spend money on me, but can I meet your family? Nope. They don't show that. They don't show whenever they get ghosted, because they're asking for more than to just be a sugar baby or, you know, whatever. They don't show that. And so you looking at social media, you looking around, and maybe your friends. It's funny because your friends will even fool you because they have shame around the truth and the reality of what they've now sold their soul for. Keeping it real with you. I'm not saying this is everybody. There are women out here who live lavish, luxurious lifestyles, and it's totally authentic. I'm saying it's skewed. If you look around, you go out, and you like, man, I mean, you know, I'm looking in the mirror. I ain't got it all together. My body ain't perfect, this, that, and the other. You don't realize that the woman whose body is so perfect year-round likely is so because she's dealing with a man who would drop her at the drop of a hat if she had any of those flaws. She can't even be loved for her authentic self. That's not a win. Everybody you lose ain't a loss. That man stopped rocking with you because you gained 10, 15 pounds, and now you feel like, oh, I lost this, I lost that. You don't know what was coming on the other side of staying with a man like that. If you had tried to acclimate down to his standard and his appetite that's insatiable for the flesh, if you had tried to do that and change yourself in all these different ways where you can't even recognize yourself, you don't know how bad things would have gotten if you had held on or somehow things had quote unquote worked out to extend with that man that you lost. It wasn't a loss, sis. Juju Baby says that was me. I know what I'm talking about. It wasn't a loss. There are conventionally attractive women who have authentic relationships. There are conventionally handsome or desirable men who are showing up in relationships. But the number is very misleading. You look around on social media, you look around on TV. This woman always got a new man. The only reason why she got a new man is because it ain't working. The only reason why she got a new man is because it ain't working. And hey, look, I've been in failed relationships, you've been in failed relationships, but I'm saying we have that commonality. If the most beautiful women in the world are constantly getting new men, that tells you something. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5, number 10 ain't work. Same, like, so really in that regard, at minimum, you're equal. Like you ain't behind the 8 ball at all. At minimum. And see, whenever you, ladies, I want y'all to understand there's a difference between a man who's going to go after the woman he's super attracted to, right? And we all want to be attracted to our woman. Let's keep it real. But there's a difference between that man and the man that says, I'm looking for the woman I can stick with. After I get attracted, I can stick with. When I've talked to men, I'm going to speak outside of myself for a second. When I've talked to men that I admire, men that I respect, men that are highly desirable, all that kind of stuff, but they've gotten to a version, they've evolved to a level of themselves where they're ready for something real and they're ready to contribute to that. All of that stuff that you see getting a lot of attention is not what's on their radar. That's, hey, look, I want her to be beautiful, but the most important thing is that she's not just a good look, but she's a good fit into my life and my soul. That's what men, and that's where the plain Jane wins. Don't get it confused. You hear people, oh, plain Janes get hurt too. Again, the only reason why, and by the way, we all get hurt. Okay, good, bad, and ugly, we all get hurt. But if you're a plain Jane and that's authentically who you are, at least you kept your soul. You didn't sell it. You didn't go out here and operate as this makeshift, fake version of you just a form of people please the masses and the majority of men just to be left with all of the scars that come along with that journey and no version of you that you even recognize. You still won. The Bible even says, what does it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Same thing goes for a woman. It's like, it's interchangeable. What does it profit you as a woman to gain all of these dudes that want to show you off to the world, spend all this money, pretend, just to lose your soul? It don't. And so as a plain Jane, your reality is going to look a little bit different, but it's actually better. It's not filled with instant gratification nearly as much, but it is filled with long-term investment, security, at least a higher chance for that. Because the man that's coming after the plain Jane, again, his eyes are not addicted to the new glittery that ain't even gold, the new glitter that ain't gold. His eyes aren't addicted to that. That's the kind of man. Again, this is a higher price, right, that you have. Therefore, there is a higher income. There's a higher income qualification for your particular customer who's going to latch on to you and say, I need that. And there's going to be fewer amount because there's only so many men who put in the work to get up to that level. So you're going to have less text, less calls, less swipe rights or whatever. If you're on the dating app, you're going to have that. You're going to have a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 or two, likes or shares on your post, on your pictures. I know that's like crazy. We live in a day and age where that's part of the measurement, but whatever. You're going to have less most times. Some of y'all got brains and you killing it, whatever. But for most women who are plain Janes, that's going to be a reality. But the same thing I was saying as far as the women that out here, just for the lustful eye, just for shock value, a lot of the plain Janes that are being properly loved, they're not creating the content around it. They're just experiencing it. So we don't see it. Again, what we see a lot of, whether out in real life or online, is really going to cater towards what's sensationalized. But real love, safe love, secure love, y'all, it's not really sensational all the time. It's almost boring. Can I keep it real? The same way people will look at a woman as plain Jane, called basic and boring. Honestly, I could tell the maturity level of somebody based on how much excitement that they need, constant excitement, in order to be fulfilled in a relationship. I ain't saying we should be, cool with boring, monotonous. But y'all correct me if I'm wrong. At a certain age, you don't need every single day to be a new argument, a new explosion. You know what I'm saying? You don't need that. At a certain age, in your youth, you may have been cool with a lot of that excitement, keep you on your toes type of stuff. Y'all always got some big thing going on. When you get to a certain age, consistency, peace, safety. Put an eye down in the chat if this is winning for you. A man who does the little things consistently without having to be told or begged to. Put an eye down in the chat. We know if a man shows up with 5 dozen roses and diamond necklaces and bracelets and stuff like that, that's going to put a smile on your face, okay? But you tell me if this is winning for you. A man who does a little thing. A man that when you need somebody, you ain't got a question that the moment you say something to this man, he going to make it his priority to make sure he's there for you. Do you consider that winning? Put eye down in the chat if that's a winner. When you need somebody, it could be emotionally, it could be financially, physically, but you ain't got to look nowhere else other than your man. Put eye down in the chat if that's something that you feel like would be considered as winning. That's my question. Put eye down in the chat. Put eye down in the chat if you consider it winning that your man, if you have one, will be a great role model for your son. He will be a great mentor. He will be a great example to follow, just in terms of his integrity, his work ethic, his consistency. If that's winning for you, put eye down in the chat. Because honestly, winning and all is subjective. So I want to make sure I'm speaking to the right people. Put eye down in the chat if you consider it a win in life. If you got a man that consistently takes accountability when you express that something he said or done hurts you. I want to know. I'm looking down in the chat, by the way. Y'all let me know. Because again, these are the wins that won't go viral. You come to your man and you say, baby, I feel like yesterday I cooked, I did all these different things, and then you came home and you ain't check on me. You ain't see how I was doing. And then you get a man that says, you know what? I was wrong for that. I apologize. I was selfish. I got in my own head, my own thoughts, and that's unacceptable. And then from that day forward, he never made that mistake again. Y'all, that's not going to go viral. That's him just showing up like that, him responding like that with tangible progress on something that you presented was an issue. That's not going to go to the blogs. I'm going to give it real with you. But that's the win. And I'm not saying literally every plain Jane I'm saying the plain Jane that is authentic, that's truly who she is. She's okay being a little bit on the like an outlier. She's not one of the cool girls. She's not stripping every week. Cool if you're a stripper, do your thing. But she's not trying to live that life if that's not really what's in her. She's going to have so much less BS traffic coming through and be so much in better position for that man who's evolved to that level and be able to give her full self to him whenever he comes. That's the win. It's just like when we see people and they shining, you see dudes online. I know I see them.
And I know money. But I see dudes online, I'm like, that boy in debt. Boy, you in debt. You done borrowed all that money. You can't handle the payments. You begging people to buy in to this facade that you got all of this money. Because I'm looking at all these depreciating assets that you done put money on, borrowed from your friends or whatever. Boy, you ain't got no money. Meanwhile, Mark Zuckerberg and people with even 8 and 9 figure net worth don't have no big old chains on. They ain't got no shot. They ain't got no grills. But they boring, right? By society standards. But they're the real winners. These are the guys, when I get in the room with 9-figure, I've only been in one room with a 10-figure guy, with a billionaire. But when I get in a room with 8 and 9-figure entrepreneurs who've been doing it, some of my old mentors, there ain't no big chains and this, that, and the other, and 20 cars out in the garage or whatever they pulling up with. It's boring. You look at them and say, wow, he's plain as heck. Plain Joe. But that's the real winner with the assets, with the real estate. His accounts are where they need to be. His credit is where it needs to be. He's caught up on all his taxes, this, that, and the other. And I'm giving y'all like the game because it's exactly the same way. It was a plain Jane. Don't be discouraged and think nobody cares about you or you doing it wrong because you're not getting as much attention. You're not getting as much validation. It's taking a while. You got to be single so much longer than everybody else. Man, the sister that hit me up after watching my Masterclass, honestly, she wasn't seemingly heartbroken, but I could tell there was some level of despair there in her saying, like, what am I doing wrong? That was her whole question. She now had the tools to break the soul tie from everybody that wasn't for her because that's what I gave away in that Masterclass. But she was wondering if something that she was doing could have been better according to her attracting men because she sees women and they just seemingly getting all this, that, and the other, the family, the money spent, the blah, blah, blah. And I told her, like, sis, like, do not change who you are. Because I'm 35 now. 35 enough crew of men who have been on both sides of the fence, but we've had to grow, whether by pain and hard failures or because, some guy had a mentor or a great dad to show. At this space, it's so much harder. Let me keep it real. It's so much more rare to find the woman that has enough of her left over to even love us. Because so many women have bought into the lie that they need to be for everybody in order to get somebody. But to my sister out there, it's a plain Jane. I offer you this. You're not for everybody, and that's okay. You're not for everybody, and that's okay. You're not everybody's cup of tea. And that's a good thing. Might be a shot of hen. Seriously though, you're not for everybody. Embrace the lifestyle of reservation. It's just like if you go to a restaurant and the tables are reserved, or you gotta place a reservation in order to sit down at this restaurant. That tells you something, right? There's probably quality food being served there. It's likely a nice environment. It's something you need to expect to invest in, but there's a certain quality that you can expect of that experience. As opposed to if you think of a restaurant and it's drive-through. What is drive-through curated for? High traffic, low prices, cheap food, no nutrients in the food. Plain Janes are not drive-through type of chicks. I'm not a believer in knocking nobody down or judging no certain group of women, but I am a believer in calling a spade a spade. All women were created equal. Not all women move equally. Plain Jane, you are a reservation-only woman, and that is a great thing. Continue to require reservations only. In advance, be prepared. Keep your menu prices where they're at. Don't drop them and insert a drive-through just so you can compete with all these other women. Because you compete with all these other women, you're going to get what all these other women are getting on a regular basis that they don't show. And again, in order for you to truly benefit from this, as far as a plain Jane, you still love and connection. I ain't saying just be so content being single, you don't want nobody, isolate yourself. No. You can both love yourself truly and authentically and be content to a certain degree in your singleness while desiring love and connection with an equally yoked man. Absolutely. But the only way that you're going to truly attract and be able to be equally yoked with your soulmate Plain Jane, if this has resonated with you, is to cut soul ties with everybody else who did not deserve you. The truth is, at some point, you've given people energy and time and access to you they didn't deserve. And the problem with that is, even though you got them out your way, because now you know more about yourself, you've risen your standards, you ain't so naive no more. The wrong people can still have access to you by way of your spirit, by way of your soul tie, more specifically. They can still have strings attached to you. And that's where a lot of y'all despair and comparison. Y'all learn to compare yourself from that man who was comparing you. And now you can't even get with the man who says, hey, these other girls can't compare. They can't compare where they can't compete. They can't compete where they can't compare. There ain't no comparison. Once it's you only. You and nothing else. You can't even attract that kind of man and be equally yoked with him because you've already adopted this spirit of comparison by way of that soul tie with the man that didn't deserve it. And that's a little bit to get into. I know as I'm talking, I'm probably losing some of y'all, but you have to now cut all soul ties. You have to purge yourself of all soul ties. Maybe it was that guy. Maybe it was the guy that you just had a little quick hookup with or situationship with. Maybe it was a couple of guys. Whatever it is, to get rid of those soul ties, there's about 7 steps you have to take. I went in depth on the Masterclass. Again, Break the Soul Tie Masterclass. Love the feedback. That's why I'm keeping it up a little bit longer. So if you have not gotten access to that free Masterclass, please click the link down here. Matter of fact, if you're watching on Facebook, you should see a little link right here. You can register while still being on the video. You ain't got to leave. But do get access to that. The caption has also got the link. But moral of the story is this. Plain Jane is still winning. Do not get fooled. Do not get it twisted. Plain Janes that work regular jobs, that wear quote-unquote regular clothes, because your energy and your investment is not into shocking and improving something to people and capturing attention, but your energy has always been invested in making sure that you're able to fully respect yourself and be equally yoked with somebody who's going to meet you there, if not exceed you there. You value respect over attention. You value true love over lust. You value true appreciation over validation. And Plain Jane, that is the win. Don't get it twisted. Those are just my thoughts. I'm an internet brother. Looking out for you per usual, sis, and hopefully, brothers, if y'all watch it too, I know y'all are. But if you got something to value from this, if this resonated with you, hit the share button so we can spread this truth amongst all of this BS and all this lies and manipulation from society that Plain Janes is just getting looked over and don't nobody want. Nah, we gonna spread this truth, man. Hit the share button if you got something to value. And I want to ask y'all to do something a little bit different. Comment below if this resonated with you. Just say me. If you watched through to this part, say me down in the comments. I'm gonna look after this and see if this was actually able to help anybody. And if you want access to the Masterclass, DerekFreeMasterclass.com or click the link right here down in the comments. Okay? That will take you to the free Masterclass for over an hour more of straight gems that I drop. That's one of my best, if not my best Masterclass, and it's free. There's a link down here in the comments.